Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to this session number 2 of the webinar on water pricing in India. We have with us Shri Sunil Kumar sir, former chairman, Central Groundwater Board, and also Chief Engineer and Head of National Water Academy is also present. Shri D.S. Chaska sir is also present. I will just introduce our guest faculty and then I will hand over it to him. He will be delivering a session on groundwater regulation and pricing in this session. Sri Sunil Kumar sir is an alumni of University of Roorkee, now IIT Roorkee, and did MTech in Applied Geology in 1985. He started his career in Central Groundwater Board in 1987 as the scientist junior hydrologist and has handled wide range of responsibilities in various capacities in different parts of India, including the position as a regional director RGI, Rajiv Gandhi National Groundwater Training and Research Institute, Raipur, and Director Administration at CGWB headquarters. In 2019, he joined as member and subsequently he held the positions in administration and human resources as member headquarter and then member Central Groundwater Authority. In February 2022, he has taken over as chairman Central Groundwater Board. And he has the versatile experience of working in various facets of groundwater management, including groundwater survey, exploration, estimation of groundwater resources, sustainable development and management of groundwater, artificial recharge of groundwater. He worked as an expert in remote sensing and GIS applications to groundwater studies and geostatistics. Sri Sunil Kumar sir has been closely involved in strategy formulation for courses conducted in Rajiv Gandhi National Groundwater Training and Research Institute. He attended various national and international conferences, and he has number of publications to his credit. He has headed various interministerial committees and members of national committees and task forces. He was honored with Lifetime Achievement Award of the IME Journal Awards in 2022. He has played a key role in framing policies on various groundwater issues in India. So I welcome Shri Sunil Kumar, former chairman CGWB, and hand it over to him for delivering the session on groundwater regulation and pricing. Thank you. I think you are muted, sir. Still you are muted.
Very good afternoon, everybody who has joined online on this session. Thank you, Chaitanya for calling me on this session, giving me opportunity to share my views. Jaskarji, thank you very much. We met long ago, but I still remember your insight into the subject. Today, the subject is very aptly chosen in the event when 2 or 3 the cities like Bangalore and Pune, they are likely to have the water crisis, and Bangalore is already having the water crisis. So choosing the topic on water pricing and the regulation is a very right time, and it will definitely at least think all the groundwater community on this issue to resolve the issue of the water problem all over India, which may likely to occur in future. I will be starting my PPT, and in between we can have a feedback session, and then in case you require, we can go at the last, and then we can have the question answer session. Whichever way you require, we can stop in between, and then we can take the questions. So let me share my PPT. Is it visible to everybody?
Yes, it is visible. It is visible.
So, as told Mr. Chaitanya, that I was the former chairman of Central Groundwater Board, and in the post-retirement, I am working as an honorary advisor hydrogeology in the Geosolution LLP, which is it's a LLP in Gurgaon, and which is working on the policy formation as well as on the various groundwater issues of India. So, as I told that India is facing a lot of problem of water crisis, especially in the urban areas, and few of the states are permanently affected by the water problems, and it is because the groundwater resources are very finite, these are limited, and due to our various requirements like the industry, agriculture, or the domestic requirement, our quantities are dwindling due to increased population. And if you can see on the right side of the map, the distribution of resources is not uniform, it is unequal. You can see the red patches in the northwestern part and the western part, as well as the southern peninsula, where the red patches are occurring, their resources are actually limited. And in between, there are areas which are safe, but actually they are safe when the ratio of groundwater usage versus availability is taken. But when you take volumetric data, the part of Maharashtra and the Madhya Pradesh, even MP, they do not have the sufficient resource on which the entire population or the agriculture can depend. So ever-growing population is also affecting the availability of resources. And when we see the future requirements, it may be the food grains, maybe the drinking water requirement, or the requirement of the industry, we are going to face a lot of challenges of the water availability. And last but not the least, the climate change is going to impact the round the clock availability, or the overall the round the year availability of the resources, because we may face extremes of the climate events. So keeping all this in view, it is basically we are in position to think that the resources are limited. In future, we are going to face a lot of issues of availability of this resource, and pollution is likely to affect the resources. So there is a need to regulate the resources through and the regulation involved as a one part is the pricing. So when we are talking about the regulation, it's control as well as pricing. So pricing is basically a part of the regulation. So what are the major issues we are facing other than the declining water level in India? We are facing contamination zones due to the industry or the application of the various pesticides or the fertilizers. There are recharge zones which has been converted into the residential area, so that impact the percolation of the water. Coastal zones are impacted due to the rise of the seawater level, and there is a seawater ingress. The wetlands of the India are reducing. We are generating a lot of waste in the cities, and their disposal is also posing a lot of issues to us. And in the mine lease area, a lot of polluted water is coming out, which is untreated and being sent to the surface water bodies and creating problems to the human life as well as to the environment. So if we see, there are competing demands of water, starting from if we see the priority, the first priority is water for life, for drinking water. Second comes the food for security, means we require at least food for living. Then third and fourth, we have the interchangeability. The third is industry and infrastructure, and fourth is ecosystem needs. Now we have given the ecosystem needs the fourth priority, but we need to give at least third priority, because we are degrading our ecosystem, and in last 78 years, this is visible through various studies that our ecosystem has degraded a lot due to the human activities. In the present state of regulation in India, coming to that point, there has been 4 entry in the our constitution, Article 21, 56, 17 and 262. They talk about the central and state role, who is the custodian of the water. So the basic crux of the matter is that what we say, when there is a interstate issues, then central government is the agency, which is the lead agency, or which is the owner of those interstate issues, and they can resolve that. And otherwise, the state is the agency. They are the owner of their own water. During the 1996, there was a case in the Supreme Court, and at that time, especially on the groundwater, the apex court has told that the central government is the owner of the all groundwater under EPA Act, and accordingly, Central Groundwater Authority was constituted, and they given this whole powers to regulate the groundwater. And later on, the pricing was also added in the recent past in 2020. So here, at many times, ministry is telling it's basically a state subject. The state will be dealing with the matter, and court at many times has given their unhappiness and told that it's the responsibility of the central government, and they need to take over the issues, various issues across India. So, keeping in view that the central government is of the view that the states should own their own resources, regulate their own resources, there have been 16 states where a state groundwater authority has been made. On the right side, it is in the list is given. And on the left side, 22 states are those where CGWB or CGWA is regulating. There was a guideline issued in 2020 where it was told that the whatever guideline issued by the center, the state should have parity with them. But none of the state has the complete parity except the two, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, and all the southern states they have not updated their policies or the groundwater regulation guidelines, and they are at various state of approval or formulation. So there are issues at the level of the level of creation of authorities. Only Punjab has implemented partially, and Haryana and Punjab has implemented fully. So when too many things were being developed and too many laws are there, so there was a view in the ministry, let us have a framework law which can be given to the states so that they can frame their own law based on this guideline. So when I was in the ministry, when I was in the service, at that time it was being finalized, and at that time this framework law had the basic feature like the regulation of the groundwater will be carried out or will be taken up through the Gram Panchayat, urban water local bodies. In the Gram Panchayat, it will be through water sanitation committees. They will prepare their own water security plans. They will have their own regulation and impose penalties. And the third part, which is not mentioned here, they will also decide the pricing of the water or the maintenance cost. So initially the maintenance cost was taken, that at least the maintenance cost of the system, which is providing water to the population, that should be actually that should be taken or that should be recovered from the population. And this committee will be followed by the district and state level committee, and then there will be authorized officer to check the compliances. There will be grievance mechanism, and in this process, there was a proposal also to decriminalize of offenses like earlier. There was a law under section 15 of the EPA that when somebody is not complying to the EPA, he will be jailed for certain period of time. So that has been now proposed to remove, and in that place they are proposed to deposit a penalty up to 5 crore rupee. So when we are going to have a policy for India for water pricing based on the current situation, we need to first see what are the different policies or the proposals are in pipeline or being implemented across the world. So first, let me discuss with the China example. China is pricing their water, and the pricing or the groundwater is managed, or water is managed by the local government, like India, we have proposed for the local government means the Gram Panchayat and the urban local bodies. And their pricing is based on volume. How much more the volume, more price of the water. And even the pricing is depend on the seasonal requirement, like the Kharif season, Rabi season, or where the water requirement is more, there is the water price is more. And they have got the various tier pricing system, and they have also proposed the encouraging of the water conservation. Similarly, the South Africa, they are having a volumetric pricing system. They are also having the seasonal pricing based on the water availability. They incentivize the water saving practices, and they issue permit for water extraction for ensure sustainable water management and allocation. Australia has a good example of water pricing. Again, they are volumetric based pricing, and they do also have the seasonal based pricing based on the water availability. And the very typical thing they have introduced is water credit. They give the water credit based on the land holdings, and one person can sell his credit to the other person. So basically, water rights can be sold by one person to another person over the year. In European Union, the charges for groundwater usage are rate vary depending on the user type and the water quality. Means for the agriculture user it is different, for the industrial user it is different, for the drinking water is different, and again on the quality of water means if the water is pure it is different cost. If it is means the recirculated water, the cost is different. And again they promote the water conservation and incentivize the efficient use of water. Israel also have because Israel is its name is very much in news for the water conservation measure and saving water. So they also use the water volume based pricing, and they depends on advanced metering infrastructure for controlling the volume being used. Child use volumetric based pricing for large agriculture users, and urban water traffic are depending on volume and income level of the consumer to ensure affordability. So basically, we have different type of example with us, like the affordability is the issue, the volumetric is the volumetric based we can do seasonal base. So based on these examples, Ministry of Water Resources came up with a pricing model in 2020, especially for groundwater. And then they identified that these can be the various mechanisms under which we can fix the pricing of the water. Like we can have a fixed fees regardless of water use. This can be one example. Other can be volume of water used. Third can be type of usage. Then we can have a graduated pricing. These are the various options. Then seasonal demand or water availability. Aquifer criticality means some aquifer can be more critical, other can be safe. So we can have a pricing depending on that, and we can subsidize the rate for low income group. These are the various options before going to the new guidelines for identifying or deciding the rates. So after a lot of discussion with various stakeholders across various ministries, finally it came to the all the ministry and departments came to a conclusion that let us have a free tier for certain users, and then we will be discussing the next page. So free tier is available for the individual domestic users, both in rural and urban drinking water, if they are using for domestic purposes. All the rural drinking water supply scheme by the government are free. They do not have to pay any amount to the government. Armed force establishment, they are free. Central Armed Force Police Force establishment are free. They may be either in rural or urban area, everywhere they are free. And the agriculture activities are free. This was the bone of contention and lot of discussion went on it. But Agriculture Ministry did not agree on this, and ultimately it was made to free. And we will be discussing the next slides how we can handle this. Micro and small enterprise drawing water less than 10 KLD, they are also free in the new government guidelines. Then in this pricing mechanism, industry, infrastructure or mine, telescopic rates were identified, means lower the volume, lower the rate. If somebody in the higher bracket of volume, the rates are also higher. And the rates of the water are also linked with the criticality of the aquifer. Means in case the industry or the infrastructure or the mine is located in the safer area, the per cubic meter volume is cheaper than in the overexploited area. And for the packaged drinking water, which use the water as a raw material, the cost is highest, and which is up to the 120 rupees per meter cube in the OE areas. This is an example of costing, where on the left side you can see the category of the area or the criticality of the aquifer, like safe, semi-critical, critical and overexploited. And on the columns you are having the quantum or the basically the brackets of withdrawal. Like the first one is up to 50 KLD, then 50 to 200 KLD, 200 to 1000, 1000 to 5000 and more than 5000. And based on the two things like the aquifer criticality and the in which bracket it falls, the rates are decided. After implementing this policy in 2020, now we are in 2024. So what are the challenges we see in the present regulation and pricing? Why we are not able to fully implement it, and what are the gaps? We need to think on this, and whatever comes to my mind and from the literature, the first thing which is very important, the non-existence of sectoral allocation. Like we have got the 432 PCM of water. We do not know how much is meant for the agriculture, how much is allocated for the industry, and how much we can give to the drinking water requirements. The largest consumer, which is agriculture, about 85% is not in the net of regulation, and there is no control over their withdrawal. Till date, we do not know how much quantum is being withdrawn by the industry. There are about 5.75 lakh industry in India, and as on date, less than 1 lakh is in the system of CGWA. So almost 1/5 has come in the net, and out of those 1 lakh, around 20,000 has taken the permit to withdraw the water. So lot of people are need to bring into the net. We do not know how much volume we can allocate to the industry in a certain area, because volumetric availability of the resource in the aquifer pockets is not known, and how much cumulative they are drawing is not known. So how much balance is left for further permitting, it is not available. Industrial clusters are mostly located in poorly available area where water level are deep, water availability is poor, and in the long run, they are going to face a lot of difficulty of non-availability of water, and because they have invested a lot of money in establishing their industry, they cannot be disallowed to use the already diminishing resource, and at the end of the year, at time, they will have the only option, they will have to shift from that place or to bring water from the outside the watershed from the surface water. And there are certain places where even the surface water is not available to supply these critical water industrial clusters. States who have already created the authority, they hardly have the capacity to implement the regulation because of the very poor strength of the officers, and in case they are having, they are given the many other responsibility, so dedicatedly nobody is available to implement the regulation across the India, and this is the problem of states throughout India. And few of the states wants to implement their groundwater regulation like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Odisha, Jharkhand. They are in very advanced stage of implementation, but due to political reasons, their proposal are lying with the cabinet, and still they have not seen the day. Since last 2-3 years, they are just lying in the cabinet for approval. There has been various issue like the farmers are unwilling to pay the charges, even put a meter on the wells to know at least who is using how much water. There is an estimate that about 2% of the farmers, which are heaviest consumer, they can be at least install the water meter, and by installing water meter on their pumps, at least we can reduce the consumption of water. There has been free electricity in many states, which is also.
And
Sorry,
what he says is that if it is possible,
should I continue? Excuse me, should I continue?
Yes, sir, please continue.
So there has been issue of free electricity in few of the states, and their availability of cheap water pumps with low efficiency has also caused decline of water at various places. There has been observation of various committee of the parliament that the pricing cost are not matching with the actual cost of the water. They are being sold by these packaged drinking water companies. So like the 250 ml of Coke is being sold at say 20-25 rupee, they are paying just 2 rupee to the government. And this is happening because of the limited monitoring mechanism. We do not know who has permit, who is using how much of the water, whether they have installed the water meters, whether the water meters are not bypassed, or whether the water meters are properly functioning or not. So what can be the likely options or the solutions to improve the present pricing or the present regulation in India? The first thing is we need to brought those people who are actually having a fear to come into the ambit of regulation, because government is charging EC from 2020 onward. So lot of money they need to pay in case they apply for a permit. So there is a need to think and to prepare a some sort of a one-time waiver from the government side, that whosoever comes by this time, their earlier charges will be either waived off or will be reduced to some extent. And we can incentivize or subsidize few industries which likely to shift to a safer area or to install in a safer area. There is a need to realistic and differential pricing for various industry depending upon the type of the product they are creating, manufacturing, and MSME or the large one. We need to install water meter on all the water pumps, and they need to be connected to IOTA based devices to know actually how much water is being consumed. There is a urgent need to incentivize conservation, and Punjab government has already under their authority, they have started doing this. They are giving the water credit to the industry who are investing in water conservation. We can introduce water credit system like Australia, and based on the water audit, if somebody is saving some water against their allocation, against a certain benchmark, then certain water credit can be given to them so that it promotes the water conservation across all the states. So I think that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a nice and crisp presentation. We
You are on mute probably. I'm not able to hear you.
No audio, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
I think we had a network issue. Am I audible now?
Now it is.
Yeah, yeah. Now we can have a question and answer session, sir. I would like to invite the participants. They can unmute themselves and they can pose their questions. There is one question in the chat box, sir. Can we include pollution load on water as one of the factor for water pricing?
What kind of incentive can be given?
No. Actually, in the chat box as well as there is one other window of question and answer. Specific question is regarding whether can we include pollution load on water as one of the factor for water pricing.
See, this CPCB has clearly come up with a guideline that below this sustainability you cannot go. So that means if your water quality is below that standard, you cannot discharge that into the drain. So if somebody is doing better, then we can definitely give them some incentive.
Sir. There is also one question in the chat box on can you explain water credit and trading?
Water credit and
Trading. I think.
trading. Okay. See, this is a concept from the Australia. In Murray Darling Basin, they are using this. What they are doing. Suppose myself and you are having two plots. So based on the land holding, you have got certain water rights. So they will be issuing a water right to you and me. In case you don't want to use your land for the agriculture purposes, for any purposes, you can trade that water right to somebody else and you can take money from him. So basically you are saving water, you are not using the water on that plot, and somebody else, if he require, he will be using somewhere else. That is a water credit. And in terms of Punjab government, what they are doing, basically if somebody is recharging, say this much amount of water, against that, they are giving credit in the water charges, because everybody has to pay for the water they are using. So in that, they are incentivizing the water conservation. Similarly, in authority CWA guideline also, those who has constructed the recharge structure prior to 2020, they are given 50% rebate on the water charges.
So there are few more questions in the chat box.
Yeah. Uh, there's a question, if we need to form a policy for water pricing, how we need to consider different industry. Say, recently, National Water Mission, they have got a study done by TERI. Sarkar Saab was the chairman of the committee, and they have come up with what are the water guzzlers, how much water they are consuming, and what should be the benchmark of water utilization. So those industry which are consuming more water or are the water guzzlers, they should be charged more. And those are consuming less or are near to the international benchmarks, they should be given incentive or charge less. And definitely there are 4-5 things I told in my lecture, that these are the points which can be considered while formulating the water pricing policy. How much groundwater is pumped out for irrigation, and what is the power cost of it? See, power cost is not yet been considered, or rather not been calculated. IWMI has done certain studies, but as far as the quantum is concerned, around 285 BCM out of 432 is being taken out for the agriculture, about 80-85%.
So, just sir, one question. Myself, Dilip Kumar, former chief engineer,
Sir,
Water Resource Department, Government of Bihar.
sir.
Sir, in Bihar, we are facing depletion of water table, sir. Every year, just I told you that last 20 years, in my personal house, 10 feet water is down. So it is uniformly whole of the Bihar. We are facing in South Bihar also, we are facing in North Bihar. So it is a common problem in the state. And our water rainfall period or rainy day every year you see due to climate change they are reducing. So how we recharge our aquifer quickly, that is more important. So in less time, how we recharge our aquifer in full potential. So that is our problem, sir. And how can we do this?
Sir, see, this is a very good question you have raised. Not only in Bihar, UP also, and because we are talking in the alluvial plain, but we are not talking about the hard rock terrain where availability is very poor. So in your area or in the UP area, aquifer are very prolific. So
Right.
we are not seeing that much of dent, that much of brunt we are not facing. But this is being reflected in the reduced flow in the Ganga, reduced flow in the other rivers, because during the lean season, the groundwater is feeding these rivers. And
Right.
once the groundwater levels are going down, the discharge to the river becoming less and less. So what we need to do, we need to identify the recharge area of these aquifers, and there we need to take up the recharge actions. So state basically need to formulate a recharge plan. The basic recharge plan has been prepared by something long before. So that can be refined, and those area can be prioritized where you first take up the activities where there more and more issues are there.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ji. One of the question is coming that how to recharge groundwater in the cities. Now Karnataka is facing a water crisis. See, Mahua is already taken the Amrit 2, and under Amrit 2, the one of the major activity is recharging the depleted aquifers. Under ADB, they got the loan, and they are basically trying to identify those areas where they can have more recharge and where they can drill the wells to augment the water supply. So this project is being implemented, and I think with the help of CCWB data as well as the state data coordination, they will come up with the good results, and they will be giving a good water security plan of the cities. Question from Jyoti Ranjan Mishra ji regarding urban area. Apart from rooftop rainwater harvesting, what sort of structure we can take up for the recharge? Recently, Japan and China has taken up a very good initiative to store water below the sports stadium or the big infrastructure underground. In Delhi also, we are using the rainwater harvesting in the parks, in the bigger buildings like then the what you call the overbridges, overbridge discharge. We are also recharging. Then basically the larger infrastructure where water quality is not poor, those can be diverted to the rainwater for their harvesting. I think no more question is left for here.
There is a question on how can a water user association can get water credits, but then this
Okay.
question, the participant is from Maharashtra, but I would like,
They themselves are they themselves are doing it. So
actually
I
the
think they know the answer.
if I may, sir, I will just submit.
Yeah,
Actually, the concept of water credit is brought out in PW in case of Punjab by PWRDA, Punjab Water Resources and Regulation and Development Authority.
yes.
In Maharashtra, that concept is not there, and that too in Punjab also they are doing it in case of industry. In case of
They
industries.
have just started. Yeah.
So I think that is explanatory.
So in implementing pricing, if so, what are the key drivers? I think it's a question of research that how much success they have achieved, and but there has been a good examples where they are implementing it, doing it. PPT I have already shared with the NWA. They can share it. There's no issue. And any question further, you can refer me to on my mail. I can write here. And I think no more question is there.
What will be the
extraction of groundwater for drinking purpose and for irrigation purpose? I think I am not. I have not worked on this, but IWMI has done a good work on this, and they have got a good documentation on this. So whosoever is interested, they can seek their material from their site. It is available there.
Yes, sir. We will be sharing I would like to inform all the participants that we will be sharing all the 4 presentations maybe tomorrow once we complete the webinar to all those registered participants who have shared their mail ID. We will be mailing them. We haven't created a WhatsApp group as such for this short webinar like we do in case of other training programs. So yeah. So with this, I think there are no further questions. There are some comments in the chat box. We can conclude this session. I would like to thank Sri Sunil Kumar sir, former chairman, Central Groundwater Board, for delivering a very informative session on groundwater regulation and pricing, and also for sharing his views on the questions posed by comments made by the participants. We will, as I said, I will be circulating the PPT presentation slides copy. I will be circulating to all the participants. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today. And if there is any further query, I will post them on. I will just mail them, so that we can the response any response I will then forward it to the participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Chaitanya ji. Thank you, thank you, Chaskar sir. Okay, ji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.